So good afternoon, students. So in the last class, I explained you about the semiconductor memories and ROM. Okay, ROM is nothing but read-only memory. So in today's class, I will explain you about the RAM. Okay, so that means a semiconductor RAM. Okay, okay, semiconductor RAM. So this RAM is nothing but we call this as a random access memory. Random access memory, or we also called as read-write memory. Read-write memory. So that means whatever the microprocessor or a microcontroller is there, so that can read or write the data. It can read the data from the memory, or it can write the data into that memory. Okay, so that's why we call this as a read-write memory. And next, this RAM is nothing but this RAM is a volatile memory. Okay, so we can call this RAM. So RAM is volatile memory. Volatile memory. So volatile memory means you know that so when the power is there, the content will be present in the RAM. Okay, so when the power is cut off, okay, what happens? The content will be erased. Okay, so that means this can also called as like runtime memory. Runtime memory. Okay, so that means volatile. You can remember like this, like perfume is there. So when the perfume is in the bottle, that will be there. Suppose if it come outside, that will becomes vanished. Okay, so that means that is like perfume is a volatile. Okay, and runtime memory means suppose uh, whenever in your phone you are using some WhatsApp. Okay, so when you are opening that WhatsApp, so that means that whatever the process in the WhatsApp that will be run in the uh, RAM. Okay, suppose if you are opening the Word file. Okay, so that means temporary files. So whatever the temporary files are there, so that Word file, whatever changes you are making, so the temporary operations will be stored in the RAM temporarily. Okay, suppose if you take some calculator, okay, in the calculator you are doing some addition of 10 numbers. Okay, so you are adding some 45 plus 10 plus 55. Okay, so 45 plus 10 means you will get one number. Okay, again whatever the number you are getting, that you are adding with some other number, that means the intermediate results are there, that will be stored in the RAM. So that means this is a runtime memory. So runtime memory means, so whatever the temporary operations are there, that will be stored in the RAM, and that will be processed in the RAM. Okay, so you can note down some points on the RAM. So RAM is used for temporary storage. RAM is used for temporary storage of program and data. So RAM is used for temporary storage of program and data. During runtime, next point, during runtime, all applications, during runtime, all applications and programs make use of RAM. During runtime, all applications and programs make use of RAM. Next point, RAM is volatile. RAM is volatile, which means which means the data stored which means the data stored vanishes. The data stored vanishes when the power is switched off. The data stored vanishes when the power is switched off. Okay, so now I'm drawing the RAM. So RAMs are divided into two types. So that is one is SRAM and another one is DRAM. So first of all, we will see the static RAM. SRAM is nothing but static RAM. Static RAM. We also call this as a SRAM. SRAM cell or SRAM. Okay, so in this SRAM, you have a bistable element. Okay, that is nothing but latch. So I think a bistable multi-vibrator, you know. So this is latch we also called as a bistable element. So it is made with two inverters connected back to back. Okay, so this is nothing but bistable element, bistable element, and the output of the bistable element is given to the MOSFET. Okay, the output of the bistable element is given to MOS. Okay, so here, so it is given to NMOS. So here, if you see, this is nothing but bit line, and this is the complement of bit line. Complement of bit line. Okay, and this is a bistable element, or we can call as a latch. Okay, and this is nothing but the word line, bit line and word line. So that means, so whenever the microprocessor or microcontroller want to read the data in the RAM, so what it will do, first of all, you need an address. The address is available in word line. So that means you need to make this word line as one. So when you are making this word line as one, what happens to this NMOS? So the NMOS becomes on. So as I told you in the logic families, so the NMOS becomes on. Okay. So that means this is short circuited. The NMOS is short circuited. So that means so sorry. So these two NMOS will be on. So what happens? Whatever the data present in this latch can be read by using this bitline and bitline bar. Okay, so that means whatever our processor is there, it can be read by bitline and bitline bar. Okay, so that is nothing but the read operation. Suppose if you see the write operation, so word line when the word line becomes one, so whatever the NMOS is there, so the NMOS will be what NMOS becomes on. So that means this is short circuited. So microprocessor or microcontroller can write the data into this bit line. Okay. So that means whatever the data written into this bit line and complement of bit line, that will be stored in the latch. That will be stored in the latch. Okay. So that means reading operation means the reading and writing, you should make this word line as one. Okay. So it makes the word line and one. Okay. So this will on. That means when you are giving one to this NMOS, so this is nothing but NMOS. Okay. So why you are using this NMOS means you know that the mobility of electrons is more compared to the holes. Okay. So that's why you are not using the PMOS. That's why you are using NMOS over here. Okay. So that means when this is one, the NMOS will be on. This is short circuited, and microprocessor can read the uh, whatever the data present in the bit line. Okay. Suppose if you want to write the data, so this word line becomes one, this becomes on. Okay, these two becomes on. That means short circuited. So what happens? It can write the data into the bit line. Okay. So and if you see the this is nothing but we call this total diagram we call as a SRAM cell. SRAM cell. Okay. So if you see the total SRAM, it will be like uh, a group of cells is nothing but we call as a SRAM. So 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 this represents a cell. Cell means 1 bit. So 1 bit, or we can call this as a SRAM cell. Okay. So that means in this cell you have this circuit. So like this, suppose you have 4 cells, means 4 same circuits will be there in the RAM. Okay. So you can access this RAM by using, how we can access this RAM. So first of all, you need the address of the memory location. Okay. So the address is identified by word. Address is identified by word. Okay. So let us consider total. You have 4 address lines. Okay. And here you have 5 data lines. 5 data lines. Okay. So that means, so these are the 5 data lines. Okay. So this is the basic operation of any RAM. Okay. So from here, suppose a microprocessor want to write the data. Okay. So first of all, it will identify the address. After identifying the address, it will write the data into that address location. Okay. So you can note down the few points about this. Bitline represents the data stored in each cell. Bitline represents the data stored in each cell. Okay. In order to access, next point, in order to access a cell, we need to access the complete row. In order to access a cell, we need to access the complete row or the word, and that is called a word line, and that is called as word line. When word line is high, next point, when word line is high, NMOS transistor gets short circuited. When the word line is high, NMOS transistor gets short circuited. So we can access the latch. So we can access the latch. Okay. So so that means these NMOS transistors we can replace with the CMOS also. Okay. So why? Because basically all the electronics ICs are there. So those are made with the CMOS only. Okay. So we compared the so many characteristics of logic families. So you got CMOS is the best option uh, for integrating the integrating these circuits. Okay. So I can replace. Uh, so here, whatever this inverter is there, so whatever this inverter is there, I can replace with the CMOS circuit. Okay. So here I can replace with the CMOS inverter. So as I explained, the CMOS inverter. So you can replace this above circuit. So here itself I can draw. So here if you see, you can replace. So here you can draw the CMOS inverter. So this is VDD. So you have PMOS over here and NMOS, NMOS, okay, and here PMOS, NMOS, okay. So connected to ground here. So these are connected to ground. So this is nothing but PMOS, and this is NMOS, okay. So these are connected together, okay, and this one is connected to this input, okay. And next you have PMOS, okay, NMOS, and this is connected to this one, and whatever the input of this CMOS is connected to output of this CMOS. Okay, so whatever the output of this CMOS is connected to output of this CMOS. Why? Because uh, you are, as I told you, this is a bistable element. It is connected back to back. Okay, so that means these two inverters are connected to back to back. So that's why the input of this CMOS is connected to the output of this CMOS, and the output of this CMOS is connected to the input of this CMOS, and input. So whatever the inputs are there, that are connected to this NMOS. Okay, so like this, we can arrange this static RAM with the CMOS. So total, how many transistors are there? Total, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 transistors are there. So we can call this as a 60 RAM cell. 60 means what? It consists of total 6 transistors. Okay, so we can call this as a 60 transistor. Okay, so this is about the SRAM. Okay, static RAM. So static RAM consists of total 6 transistors. It can be made with two NMOS and bistable element. Those are nothing but two inverters connected back to back. So we can convert whatever the bistable element into CMOS. So total it requires uh, this 6 transistors, and this SRAM is volatile and runtime memory. So that means when the power is on, whatever the data is there, that will be there, that will be present, that will be processed, or that will be stored. So when the power is cut down, okay, cut off, so what happens to the data? The data will, the total data will be erased. Okay, so how we can read or write the data? So how the microprocessor can read or write the data? So you need to make the word line 1, and the data will be available at a bit line. So it can read the data in the bit line. So for write operation, you should make a word line as 1, and after making word line as 1, so you should write the data into the bit line or a complement of bit line. Okay, so this is about the static RAM. Next, dynamic RAM. Okay, so dynamic RAM. Okay, so we call this as a DRAM, dynamic RAM at DRAM. Okay, so so that means for the DRAM, so what happens when the power is on? So whatever the data will be there, that data will be leaked. Okay, so the data will be leaked through the capacitor. So you have for the DRAM, you have one MOS transistor. Okay, so you have one MOS transistor along with the MOS capacitor. Okay, so here if you see, so that means every time when the DRAM is working, so whatever the data is there, the data will be leaked. Okay, so you can note down about this. In a DRAM, the data slowly vanishes. In a DRAM, the data slowly vanishes with the time. The data slowly vanishes with the time. So it needs to be. So it needs to be refreshed. So it needs to be refreshed after regular interval. It needs to be refreshed after regular interval, which is a major disadvantage. It needs to be refreshed after regular interval, which is a major disadvantage. So this is one of the major disadvantage. Every time you need to refresh this DRAM. Okay, so DRAM will be, it consists of only one MOS transistor. So if you see here, this is one MOS transistor. So here you have the bit line. So NMOS array is outside connected to ground, substrate connected to ground. So here you have the MOS capacitor. Okay, it is connected to ground. Okay, so this is MOS capacitor, and this is the word line. This is the word line, and this is the bit line. This is the bit line. Okay, so we call this as a one cell. Okay, so that means size wise, if you see the SRAM, it requires total 6 transistors, but if you see the dynamic RAM, it consists of only one transistor. This is one advantage you can take, like advantage of DRAM is it require only one transistor, only one transistor, and and one capacitor, one capacitor. So that means in order to integrate these DRAM into the IC, so you need to integrate the MOS capacitor also. Okay, so that means you are integrating the MOS capacitor with the CMOS. Okay, so you can construct the MOS capacitor with the CMOS. Okay, so what happens when the bit line is one? Okay, so when the bit line is one, this transistor will be what? When bit line is one, this transistor will be on. Okay, so when the NMOS is on, so what happens? This will be short circuited. So that means whatever the voltage, whatever the value, whatever the voltage you are getting, that is coming into the capacitor. Okay, so that means whatever the bit line is there, it is coming into the capacitor. So you know that capacitor will charge and discharge. Okay, so that means it is connected to anyway ground. So whatever the supply voltage is there, uh, it is discharging through the ground. Okay, so this is one of the disadvantage. Okay, so you can note down this some few points. So DRAM only require one transistor. DRAM only require one transistor and one capacitor. DRAM only require one transistor and one capacitor. Its size is less. Its size is less as compared to SRAM. Its size is less as compared to SRAM, and it has four times the density as compared to SRAM. As it has four times the density as compared to SRAM. Next point, cost of DRAM is 1/5 of SRAM. Cost of DRAM is 1/5 of SRAM. So that means why cost is less? So it require only one transistor and one capacitor. Okay, whereas the SRAM require total six transistors. So cost of DRAM is 1/5 of SRAM. To remove the drawback, next point, to remove the drawback of refreshing. So every time we need to refresh the capacitor, no? So to remove the drawback of refreshing, we can use IRAM. So we can use IRAM or integrated RAM. To remove the drawback of refreshing, we can use IRAM or integrated RAM, in which refresh circuitry is present on the chip. Okay, so whatever the refresh circuitry is there, refresh circuitry is present on the chip. Okay, so whatever the refresh circuitry is there, that will be present on the chip. So in the place of DRAM, you can use the IRAM. That is nothing but integrated RAM. In the name itself, it shows that whatever the refreshing circuit is there, that will be within the on the chip. Okay. Next point, maximum refresh time is 2, 4 or 8 milliseconds. Maximum refresh time is 2, 4 or 8 milliseconds. In burst mode, next one, in burst mode of refreshing, each row of cell, in burst mode of refreshing, each row of cell are refreshed at the same time. In the burst mode of refreshing, each row of cell are refreshed at the same time, and all memory operations are suspended at that time. And all memory operations are suspended at that time. Okay. So what is the drawback for this DRAM? Drawback is nothing but refreshing. So the charge will be discharged. Whatever the charge you are getting, that will be discharged through the MOS capacitor. And advantage is small size. Why it is small size means it can be constructed with uh, one transistor and one capacitor. Okay. So one more RAM is there. That is nothing but non-volatile RAM. Non-volatile RAM. Okay. So we call this as a NVRAM, non-volatile RAM. So here basically it will use EEPROM. Okay. So that means so when the RAM is that means when the power is off. Okay. So whatever the content of the RAM, that will be transferred to which one? ROM. Okay. Again, when the power is on, what happens? So whatever the ROM content, so that means whatever the data stored in the ROM content, again it will be stored back to the RAM. Okay. So that means here by NVRAM we can convert whatever the RAM from the volatile to non-volatile. So that means when the power is off, what happens? The content will be temporarily stored in the ROM. Okay. So when you got the power, so what happens? Whatever the stored data is there, that will be again regained into the RAM. So this is nothing but non-volatile RAM. Okay. So this is all about the static RAM. Okay. SRAM and dynamic RAM, DRAM, and non-volatile RAM. So these are the classifications of RAM. Okay. So so next we'll see the so till now I explained you about the RAM. So next ROM is there. So that means programmable logic. We call this ROMs as a programmable logic devices. Okay. Programmable programmable logic devices. Programmable logic devices. Okay. So you know that IC. Okay. So in the lab, suppose we are using that multiplexer is made with 7416 IC. So each and every combination circuit have one IC. Okay. So IC is nothing but integrated circuit. Integrated integrated circuit. Okay. So IC will be like this one. So it will be on the board itself. Okay. It will be on the board. IC will be like this. You have the pins in the IC. Okay. You have some pins. You have some pins in this IC. Okay. So these are the pins in the IC. Okay. So so that means if you see this IC, so that means each and every combination circuit have some IC. So that means if you want to design a larger circuit, okay, like processor or a memory, okay. So one of there is so many drawbacks by using this ICs, okay. So we can use for small applications. So drawbacks are this is this will be take large power consumption, so it will take large amount of power. Okay. Power consumption. Okay. And next large space requirement. Large space requirement. Okay. And more cost. More cost. Okay. So these are the disadvantages of drawbacks for the using IC. So suppose if you want to design a larger circuit, okay, so whatever whoever the designers are there, they are designing they are doing some R&D on the some circuits. So they can't use these ICs. Okay, so those are fixed. They cannot change whatever the operation present in that IC. So for the designers, they use this one application specific specific IC, so that we call as ASIC, application specific IC. Okay, so so that means for making this ASIC, application specific IC, investment is more. Okay, so investment is more, and for bulk production it is not useful. Only for the R&D purpose, the designers who are designing this who want to do R&D on different circuits, they can use this application specific IC. Okay, so next thing is you have PLDs. Okay, so PLD. Suppose if you want to develop ALU. Okay, so ALU you can develop by using the programmable logic device. So that means whatever you want to design, like you want to design a half adder, or you want to design multiplexer, you want to design decoder. So for by using the PLDs, you can make that PLD as a whatever the combinational circuit. Okay, so this comes under the LSI. LSI is nothing but this is a LSI circuit. So LSI is nothing but large scale integration. So LSI is nothing but large scale integration. Large scale integration. Okay. So if you see, so that means ICs are made with like you have ICs are SSI, small scale integration, whatever the logic gates are there. So whatever the logic gates that comes under the SSI, small scale integration. MSI, MSI means combinational circuits like multiplexer, decoder, encoder. So these comes under the MSI, medium scale integration, and LSI. So LSI are nothing but whatever the PLDs and ALUs are there, that will comes under the large scale integration. And you have VLSI. VLSI is nothing but very large scale integration. So that means whatever the processors are there. So you have like suppose if you take your mobile phone. So what processor you have means you have some like Qualcomm processor is there. Suppose like yeah, some mobiles have Intel processor. Windows phone have Intel processor. So that means those processors are made with this technology. That means very large scale integration. So that means some millions of transistors will be fabricated within a IC. Okay, so that is nothing but here example you can write processor, microprocess, microcontrollers are made with VLSI, and you have VLSI, ultra large scale integration. So that means total system. So whatever the system, total system, if you want, suppose one system it consists of like microprocessor, memory, some peripheral devices. Okay, so like timer, counter, uh, uh, all the ports. Okay, all total system if you are integrating within one IC, suppose like Raspberry Pi is there, so that is made with the ULSI. ULSI means ultra large scale integration. Okay, these are some different types we make the IC. Okay, so now we'll come with read only memory. Read only memory. Okay, so read only memory means uh, so what the read only memory will do, we can store the whatever the data permanently. Okay, whatever the binary information, data is nothing but binary information. So it can be, so ROM, 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 ROM can be used to store uh, permanent binary data, binary information or binary data. So whatever the binary information, if you want to store permanently, you can use ROM. Okay. So basically, this is a combinational circuit. Basically, this is a combinational circuit. So it can, that means combinational circuit means it made with gates. Okay. So it made with gates, and you have programmable, programmable read only memory. Read only memory. Okay. So that means we call as a PROM. PROM means what? Programmable read only memory. Okay. Uh, okay. You can note down. A ROM is a memory device. A ROM is a memory device which can store permanent binary. A ROM is a memory device which can store permanent binary information, which can store permanent binary information, and can be used to implement combinational logic circuit. Can be used to implement combinational circuit. So that means if I want to implement decoder circuit or multiplexer circuit. Okay, so I can use this programmable logic devices or ROM. By using this ROM, I can design whatever the logics have a combination circuit like full adder, half adder, full subtractor. I can design with this ROM. Okay, uh, advantages. First one, easy design. Okay, so you can say advantages, easy design. And second one, design can be changed rapidly. Design can be changed rapidly. Third one, faster than MSI circuits. Faster than MSI circuits. Fourth one, reduce cost. Reduce cost. Fifth one, non-utilization of complete circuit. Non-utilization of complete circuit. Sixth one, large power consumption. Large power consumption. Seventh one, enormous increase in size. Enormous increase in size. In increase in number of inputs. Enormous increase in size, increase in number of inputs. Okay, so these are the advantages of ROM. Okay, so now we'll see the ROM organization. So before going into the ROM, you need to know about the ROM organization. Okay, so if you see, so we have the so in order to interface uh, whatever the microprocessor or microcontroller into the memory, first of all it will identify the address. Okay, it will identify the address. So that is input. Let us take K. Okay, and you have the data data outputs. Okay, data outputs. So that means so I can tell like example. Suppose uh, some group of houses are there. In that group of houses, suppose if your friend want to meet you. Okay, so first of all, what he will do, he will come to whatever the colony you are residing. Okay, and you have that means there you have so many houses will be there. Okay, so first of all, what he will do, he know that address of the your house. So by using that address, suppose if you are getting like a friend, your friend, anyway he know your address. Suppose if you are getting some letter. Okay, so in the letter one some address will be your address will be written. The postman, he will separate the letters based on that address. Okay, he will come to your colony, and based on your address he will give the letter to you. Okay, so that means in order to access the data, so in order to meet you, in order to get the letter to you, so you want the address. So that means first of all the microprocessor will identify the address. Okay, so after that data is available in that address location. Okay, so that means you can say that you have k address lines. So in this k address lines, so that means this is a, we can call this as a k address input. If k address input is there, you have 2 power k address lines. 2 power k address lines. Okay, so that means what is size? Size equal to 2 power k cross how many data lines are there? N data lines. Let us take a data outputs are n data lines. Okay, so here cross n. Okay, so here you need to identify that I didn't keep this input data length. Why? Because ROM is nothing but our microprocessor can only read the data present in this ROM. So that means it will identify the address. After identifying, it will take the data from the ROM. Okay, it will not write the data into that ROM. Okay, so that's why the input data lines are not present in this ROM. Okay, so you can write 2 power k cross n. So that is, we call this as a ROM. Okay, so let us take one example, like if you see, if you see uh, 32 cross 8 ROM is there. 32 cross 8 ROM is there. So 32 equal to what? 2 power k. So what is 2 power k? So 2 power k equal to what? K equal to 5. So 2 power 5 is 32, no? So k equal to 5. So total, so that means 5 address inputs are there. 5 address inputs are there, and 8 address sorry, data outputs are there. So 5 address inputs are there, and 8 data outputs are there. Okay. So here if you see, so 8 these are the data outputs. Okay. So these are the data outputs. Okay. So what is my size? So you can represent 32 cross 8 as 2 power 5 cross 8. Okay. So that means 32 eights. So total it have how many locations? Means 256 bits. 256 locations it has. Okay. So 32 cross 8 means you will get 256. So total 256 locations you have. Okay. So the ROM will be like this. So that means it have a ROM cell, group of cells. It consists of a group of cells, So this we call as a cell. This we call as a cell, and this is nothing but a memory location. Memory location. In the memory location, there will be a data. Okay. So this we can call as a word line. This we call as a word line. Word line. Okay. So let us take one example. Like we see 8 cross 4 row. Let us take this example. 8 cross 4 row. Okay. So that means 8 equal to, if you represent in 2 power k, so that is 2 cube equal to 2 power k. So that means k equal to what? K equal to 3. K equal to 3. Okay. So you can design this row with, so here you have 3 address inputs are there. But how many data lines you need? Total 4 data lines are you need. Okay. So that means you can build this ROM with a 3 cross 8 decoder. Okay, here this is 3 cross 8 decoder. So internally, how you can design the decoder? You know that it consists of inverter and AND gates. Okay, so here you have 3 address lines. Let us take the address lines are A0, A1, and A2. Okay, and next you have how many data lines? So total 3 cross 8, no? So total 8 data lines will be there. 8 data lines will be there. Okay. So let us take, so this is Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4, Y5, Y6, and Y7. Okay. So from this, you are getting these outputs. So that means total how many data lines? So you have 4 data lines, 8 cross 4. So these are connected with an OR gate. Okay, an OR gate. So this is let us take, this is X3. Okay. So X3. Okay, one second. So these are connected like this. So this is X2 and this is X1. So there is a fuse. So in order to represent the connection, there will be a fuse, like cross mark is there. When the cross mark is there, means that is connected. Okay, X naught. Okay. So I will take one example, like the inputs. So I will take this example. The inputs are, so the inputs are, let us take the inputs. 3 inputs are there, and 4 outputs are there. Okay. So let us take one example, and I want to design this circuit. Okay. So here the inputs. So let us take the inputs. Inputs are A2, A1, A0, and the outputs are X3, X2, X1, and X0. Okay. So if there are three inputs, means how many possible combinations? 8 possible combinations. So those are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1, 1. These are the possible inputs. Okay. So let us take the random output. So let us take like 0. So you have the output 0, 1, 1, again 0, 1, 1. Again next, let us take this one is 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. Okay. So and next is 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Okay. So just 1, 0 or 1, 1. Let us take 1, 1. The random. And x1 is 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Again x naught is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay. So now you can write the x3 in terms of min terms. So that is x3 equal to what? Summation of so 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2. You can keep this as 0. Okay. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 4. This you can keep as 1. So wherever you have 1, you should write 1, 2, 4, and 5. And what is x2? X2 is summation. These are nothing but SOPs, sum of products. So 0, 2, 4, 6, and 7. Okay. And next x3, sorry, x1. X1 is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. And x0. What is x0? X0 is a so summation of m of 3, 4, and 7. Okay. So now you can draw the circuit. So that means what is x3? X3 is nothing but 1, 2, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 4, 5 means these fuses. So let us take so 1, 2, 4, and 5. So that means this cross mark is nothing but this is connecting. So this makes one fuse. So one fuse means this is connection. Okay. So again x2 is 0 to 4, 6, 7. So x2 equal to what? So x2 equal to 0 to 4, 6, 7. So you can fuse over here 0, 2, 4, 6, and 7. Okay. And next, what is x1? 1, 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7. Okay. And next, x naught is 3, 4, 7. X naught is 3, 4, and 7. So like this, you can implement this one. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, we
Any
have
doubt?
PPT session at 2:30, sir.
Okay.
It's 2:20.
Okay. I will take the attendance. Okay. Okay. 1 second.